Hello everyone. Today I'm going to tell you a fascinating story. So imagine this. You're a young filmmaker from down south New Zealand and you haven't directed a lot of films. You are not assumed as a conventional Hollywood director. You haven't shown that you can handle a very big project involving hundreds of millions of dollars. And yet somehow you have pulled a deal to direct Lord of the Rings trilogy, the most beloved fantasy novel ever written. A book which is loved by millions of people worldwide, a book which is considered holy by millions, a book which is known inside and out by millions of people. So you might be thinking that the worst part is over. You have landed a multi-million dollar project, you have landed a deal to direct the movies. But no, the hard part is not over, the hard part is yet to come. Because if you see the Lord of the Ring books, page by page, line by line, those books are undirectable, unfilmable. So what would you do? How would you go and direct the movies? How would you show the movie on the big screen? How would you do that? How would you solve that problem? Today I am going to show you how Peter Jackson solved this problem. What changes did he make in the movies from the novel? What characters did he omit? What incident did he change? And what other changes did he do in the movies? Today we are going to see all of this in this video. I am going to be dividing this video into two parts. In the first part, I'm going to show you what characters did he omit from the novels, what character did he change, and in the second part, I'm going to show you what incidents did he change. What incident did he change in the movies? So let's begin. Not only what changes did he make, but also why did he make those changes? So a list of the characters that he removed from the movies that were in the novels and played a very essential part in the novel are Prince Imrahil of Dol Amroth. He played a very important role in the War of the Ring and the battle at the Black Gate. He removed Beregond, the treason of Beregond. It's a very important incident in the novel. Bergil, who befriends Pippin and shows Pippin around in Gondor when he is alone. Forlong of Nasarnak, Halbarad, a Dunezai ranger from the north, he plays a very important role in the war. And in fact, he accompanies, along with 30 other rangers, he accompanies Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas to the path of the dead. Peter Jackson removed Elladan and Elrohir, the sons of Elrond. They too accompany Halbarad and all the rangers and Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas to the path of the dead. Ghân-buri-Ghân, he was the chief of the Druidan inhabited Druidan forest. And now, what events did he change in the movie? So, event number one, Aragorn and Anduril. You remember in the movie when King Theoden is mushing the Rohirrim at Dunharrow, and Elrond comes to meet Aragorn, and he brings Anduril to Aragorn. He then gives Anduril to Aragorn. But in the novel, Elrond gives Aragorn the shards of Narsil when he was only 21 years old. Aragorn had shards of blades of Narsil, the broken blades of Narsil, when he was just 21 years old. And just before the events of the Fellowship of the Ring, the Council of Elrond, just before the Council of Elrond, the events of Council of Elrond, Elrond reforges the shards of Narsil into Anduril, and he gives Aragorn Anduril way before the War of Pelennor Fields. This is change number one. And change number two. You know when Elrond at Dunharrow gives Aragorn the Anduril, and then he tells Aragorn to follow the path of the dead. But in the novel, when King Theoden and whatever is left of the Fellowship of the Ring is returning from Isengard to Edoras. In the book, in the novel, when the company is returning from Isengard to Edoras, in the way they meet Halbarad. Halbarad. Halbarad is a Dunedain. I talked about it before. Halbarad is a Dunedain ranger from north. He comes with 30 of his ranger buddies and two elves, the sons of Elrond. Their name were Elladan and Elrohir. They also come to Aragorn. They come to meet Aragorn, and it was actually Elrohir who tells Aragorn to follow the path of the dead. The Rangers, Elladan, Elrohir, Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas, they all go to the path of the dead along with their horses. Unlike in the movie, where only the three, Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, go to the path of the dead. Because in movie, Peter Jackson did not want to, crowd the scene. Halbarad is a very important character in the novel. But if we have to show that in the movie, we have a very limited amount of screen time, 2 or 3 hours. We can read book at our leisure. We can complete a book like the Return of the King in 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, in 1 year, whatever time we want. But Peter Jackson had to show all that story within 2 to 3 hours. That's why he removed many of the characters. He removed all the fluff while keeping the central storyline straight. The central storyline of his movies were Frodo going to Mordor to destroy the ring, and whatever characters come, they either is helping Frodo, they are either helping Frodo or they are hindering him. They are hindering him, nothing more. And when Aragorn is going on the path of the dead, and when he confronts the king of the dead, there is a confrontation between them. What say you in the movie? But actually, in the novel, the scene is totally different. They are just going on the path, and they just feel like the dead are following them. And Aragorn just asks, "Who are you?" And they say, "We are here." "Who are you and what are you?" And they just say, "We are here to fulfill our oath." That's it. No confrontation. With Halbarad, Lady Arwen sends a banner of the king of the Gondor, the High King of the Gondor. And when Aragorn comes to the field of Pelennor, to the battle of Pelennor field, he fights under that banner. He shows that the king has arrived. In the movie, Lady Éowyn goes to the battle of Pelennor field along with the Rohirrim with Mary, and Mary knew from the beginning who he was riding with. But in the novel, Mary did not know who he was riding with. I mean, actually, he did not know who he was riding with. He was actually riding with a soldier named Dernhelm. Dernhelm. And he thought he was riding with Dernhelm, but he did not know that Dernhelm was actually Lady Éowyn. He did not know who Dernhelm was until Éowyn revealed herself, my bad, revealed herself to the Witch King of Angmar. In the movie, it is shown that when Faramir returns from Osgiliath, when Osgiliath is overrun by orcs, actually Gandalf with Prince Imrahil goes there to help them and aid them. So when Faramir returns from Osgiliath and Denethor sees him, he just orders his servant to prepare a pyre for him, to prepare a pyre for him. Denethor and Faramir will burn like the heathen kings of old, but it is not explained why he is so despair. Actually, in the novel, it is explained. In the novel, it is shown that Denethor too had Palantir, and Sauron used to show him terrifying visions and overwhelming strength of Mordor. That's why Denethor was just despaired, and he thought it would be wise to just burn and die. Why wait? Another character and incident that Peter Jackson famously removed is Beregond and Treason of Beregond. When Denethor orders his servants to light a pyre and to burn them alive, Denethor and Faramir, actually Pippin, with the help of Beregond, prevents this, and thus Beregond breaks some military rule. He sheds some blood. He kills some soldiers on a holy ground where kings and stewards go to die. He shed some blood there, and thus he had committed a treason and thus saving Faramir's life. He fights soldiers and he saves Faramir's life. The treason of Beregond is a good incident in the book. And it was Beregond who said that famous line, "It is but deep breath before the plunge," which actually Gandalf says in the movie. When Aragorn comes to the Pelennor field with the dead army is shown like a green tidal wave clearing out the city from orcs fighting physically. But in the novel, the army of the dead works very differently. The dead army invokes fear and terror in their enemies, and they cause them to run away. They don't fight physically, they invoke terror and fear. They work like this. And in the novel, they never come to the Pelennor field. After Aragorn uses them to drive away the corsairs of Umbar, Aragorn holds their oaths fulfilled and he releases them. They were more like a supernatural weapon, not like a physical weapon, not like a physical force which can do combat. They work very differently. And because it works in the novel, but in the movie is a visual form of storytelling. You have to show how they work. So that's why Peter Jackson changed this one. After the Battle of Pelennor failed, Aragorn does not enter the city. He fears there might be a strife, power tussle, and he wanted to focus all of his energy as well as his city's energy on the battle against the enemy. So that's why he does not enter the city. But Gandalf calls him to heal the wounded because the hand of a king is the hand of a healer. But in the movie, after the battle, he just he is shown in the attire of a king. He just assumed the kingship of Gondor. The political scenario in the books were quite different because Aragorn had to prove his kingship. Another another way by which his kingship is proved, when Faramir is mortally wounded and Aragorn goes to heal him. Gandalf calls him to heal the wounded, and Aragorn goes to heal Faramir. He heals Faramir. Faramir opens his eyes. He sees Aragorn, and the first thing Faramir says is, "My lord, you called me. What does the king command?" This thing consolidated his claim as a king, and also the hand of a king is the hand of a healer. This also consolidated his claim. When whatever remained of the fellowship, they are deliberating what to do now, how to make sure that Frodo is successful in his quest. It is Aragorn in the movies who says, "Let's go to attack Barad-dûr," blind him to everything that is going on. But in the novel, Gandalf suggests this to do. Gandalf suggests to do this. And when they actually go to attack Barad-dûr, Merry does not go. Meriadoc does not go with them because he is wounded by the Black Breath. When he stabs the Witch King of Angmar, his hand is damaged. I mean, he has a deep wound in his hand, and he's not ready to fight. That's why Mary does not go, only Pippin goes. But in the movie, they both go. And when they're going to the Black Gate, the heralds are crying all throughout the way that the king of Gondor has returned and he is reclaiming all these lands. Now, if we go on the other side of the story, Frodo and Sam. In the book, in the grasp of the ring is shown to be very intense on Frodo. He fights Sam again and again a lot. In fact, one time he tells Sam to go away and just leave him with Gollum, and Gollum will guide him to Mount Doom. But actually, in the novel, his the grasp of ring is not that intense. Frodo fights Sam, Frodo rebukes Sam, but not that much, only 2 or 3 times. First time that Frodo rebukes Sam is in the Tower of Kirithongol when he is bitten by Silob and Sam thinks that Frodo is dead, and Sam takes his ring and his sting, the dagger, the sword. And when Sam says Frodo, sorry master, begging forgiveness master, but I have taken your ring, and Frodo says, give me the ring back, you thief. And another time on the plains of Gorgoroth, 1 2 times more. But in the movies, he's constantly fighting Sam. He's constantly chiding Sam, and is favoring Gollum actually. Peter Jackson actually shows the grasp of a ring intensifying on Frodo. When all of this ring business is done, when Aragorn is coronated, and when the Fellowship of the Ring finally breaks apart, and when everyone is returning to their home, one one of the major one of the major incident and a very big incident that Peter Jackson removed from the film is Scouring of the Sire and the Battle of Bywater. When the hobbits, after the War of the Ring, they return to the Sire, they find something very strange in the Sire. Saruman, the cruel wizard, the white wizard, under the name of Sarki, has turned the Sire into an industrialized wasteland. The beauty of the Sire is gone, the trees are fallen, and brick kilns, brick chimneys are formed. With the help of his ruffians, Saruman has turned Sire into a wasteland. And the four hobbits motivates all of the hobbits from the Sire and other neighboring areas. They motivate them to fight and to oust away, to drive away the ruffians and Saruman, Saki, and Grima from the Sire. They fight the Battle of Bywater. And when Frodo tells everyone to not kill Saruman, and when he drives away Saruman from Sire, Grima Wormtongue kills Saruman in the Sire, but in the movie he is shown to kill Grima Wormtongue kills Saruman at the Tower of Isengard, and that too in the extended edition. In theatrical cut, nothing of the killing of Saruman is shown. So Grima Wormtongue kills Saruman in the Sire, and just as he kills Saruman, another Hobbit archer kills Grima Wormtongue, and he drops dead there, then and there. So these are the facts that I found interesting, and I thought you might like it too. This was the final video in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. If you want to see my previous videos, which I made about the differences in the movies and the novels of the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Tower, you can check my channel. And I hope you liked the video. If you like to watch my previous videos, consider subscribing. Thank you.